All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today, and it's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Definitely interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about UkraineBoost and, their whole deal leaving Twitter for Bluesky.
Hmm.
And I think that there's a bigger story here, right? It's not just about one organization changing platforms.
Right.
It kind of feels like it's saying something bigger about how social media is changing.
Yeah, and it's really about the choices organizations have to make these days. Like, where do they want to be online?
Yeah, and what does that say about them, right? Like,
Exactly.
what message are they sending by where they choose to hang out online?
Definitely, it's all about values now more than ever before.
Values.
Yeah, like for Ukraine Boost, their whole mission is about supporting Ukraine, right? Getting their message out there and building a global community.
Right, sharing stories, gathering support, all that.
Exactly. And that's why this move to Bluesky is so fascinating because you'd think Twitter would be the perfect place for that kind of work.
It seems like it, right? I mean, reach a huge audience, share updates quickly, all that.
You would think so, but things have been, well, shifting on Twitter, haven't they?
Shifting, that's a good word for it.
Ever since the whole Elon Musk takeover, the atmosphere has gotten a lot more, what's the word?
Yeah, tense, kind of like everyone's walking on eggshells.
Exactly. Tense, polarized, and that kind of environment can be tough for an organization that relies on positivity and collaboration.
Definitely. Like, you need people to be open and willing to listen and engage.
Exactly. But when everyone's constantly on edge and ready to jump down each other's throats, it's hard to have that productive dialogue.
Yeah, it's like trying to have a serious conversation at a rock concert. Just impossible to hear anything over the noise.
And speaking of noise, we can't forget about the misinformation problem, which has only gotten worse on Twitter.
Oh, man. Don't even get me started. It's like a minefield out there.
It really is. And for Ukraine Boost, it's not just annoying, it's a real obstacle to achieving their goals.
Right, like how could you effectively share important, verified information when it's constantly getting drowned out by a flood of fake accounts and bots?
And think about it from the average person's perspective. They're scrolling through their feed trying to figure out what's actually happening in Ukraine.
Yeah, it's tough to know what's real anymore.
Exactly. And that constant barrage of misinformation erodes trust. And for an organization like Ukraine Boost, that's a huge deal.
It's their whole foundation, right?
Mhm.
People need to trust that they're getting accurate information and that their support is actually making a difference.
Exactly. And this is where the whole Elon Musk situation comes into play.
Yeah, can't really avoid that elephant in the room, can we?
Not really. His public statements on Ukraine have definitely been controversial, to say the least.
Putting it mildly.
And it puts organizations like Ukraine Boost in a really tough position. Do they stay on a platform whose leader seems to hold views that clash with their core mission?
It's a real ethical dilemma.
It is. And ultimately, Ukraine Boost decided they couldn't reconcile those differences and made the move to Bluesky.
Okay, so Bluesky, this is the new kid on the block, right?
Yeah.
It's been gaining a lot of attention, especially from people who are, well, maybe a little fed up with the Twitter chaos.
You could say that. And for Ukraine Boost, Bluesky offers a different kind of environment.
So what is it about Bluesky that makes it a better fit?
Well, it's built on this thing called the AT protocol, which basically means it's decentralized, no single entity controlling the whole platform.
Decentralized, so it's like a network of communities, kind of like the early days of the internet.
You got it. And that gives users a lot more control over their experience so they can choose what they see, who they interact with, even how their communities are moderated.
So it's all about empowerment and transparency.
Exactly. And with already over 1 million users, it's attracting a lot of people who are looking for a less chaotic, more authentic social media experience.
Okay, so more control, less noise, sounds pretty good. But how does this actually translate into a better experience for Ukraine Boost specifically?
Well, it means they can focus on building a community that's truly dedicated to supporting Ukraine, a place where they can share verified information, connect with genuine supporters, and have constructive dialogue without all the drama and manipulation that's become so common on other platforms.
And I hear they've got a pretty easy username to remember on Bluesky.
Oh, yeah, it's just ukraineboost.brisky.social, simple and straight to the point.
So it's like they're trading in a megaphone in a crowded, noisy market for a chance to have more focused, meaningful conversation.
Exactly. They're reclaiming their narrative and connecting with their audience on their own terms.
This whole situation really makes you think, though, about how we all navigate this increasingly complex social media world, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what criteria should we be using to decide where we spend our time and energy online?
It's a big question.
It is. And there's no easy answer. But I think it's something we all need to consider, especially when we see organizations like UkraineBoost making these kinds of moves. It's a reminder that we have choices and that those choices matter.
For sure. It's about aligning our actions with our values.
Exactly. And that's something to think about long after this deep dive is over. So thanks for joining us and keep those conversations going.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, until next time.